Well, I haven't talked to any of the actors who have played Superman directly, but I did. I received and responded to a lovely note written to me by Henry Cavill, and I wrote and then received a lovely note to and from Tyler Hoechlin, who played Superman and Clark in the TV show that just wrapped up. So I've been in contact with them, but haven't gotten to sit down and have a real conversation. I hope we get to do that soon. I think it'd be fun to have.
Maybe you could have like Superman metaverse,
Yeah,
just like
yeah,
Spider-Man.
exactly.
Everybody's pointing at
Come on.
No more metaverse.
No, but it'd
I
be
like
fun.
that Spider-Man meme.
Yeah, yeah. Oi, Brasil! Olha aqui de novo com mais uma entrevista maravilhosa pra vocês. E dessa vez, começa assim. Olhe pro alto. Calma, olha pra mim mesmo. Gente, bati um papo maravilhoso com o elenco e o diretor e produtor e o dono da coisa toda da DC, James Gunn. E também falei com o nosso Superman, David Corenswet, e a maravilhosa Rachel Brosnahan. Dá uma olhada nesse papo. Brasil, eles estão aqui. Sim, temos o Superman no Rio de Janeiro. Vamos falar simplesmente com James Gunn, the marvelous Rachel Brosnahan, and David, our Superman. Okay, guys, I see that you're like enjoying Rio these days. I'm sorry we had bad weather. Oh, Superman is
Yeah, it's about-
flying above us.
My ride.
I like the special effects. Did you do that?
That for us. If you look up, there's a little man.
I heard someone is like was scared by the Christ. Is that true?
By the. Oh my God!
James terrified of Christ, famously.
I love Jesus. I don't like heights.
I understand. I feel it. I feel. So David and Rachel playing Lois and Clark and Superman, of course. It's like a huge deal because these characters have a lot of baggage. Everybody knows them. It's like iconic roles, and we had a lot of actors that played this parts before. Did you actually talk to someone, or you just did your own version of that?
Well, I haven't talked to any of the actors who have played Superman directly, but I did. I received and responded to a lovely note written to me by Henry Cavill, and I wrote and then received a lovely note to and from Tyler Hoechlin, who played Superman and Clark in the TV show that just wrapped up. So I've been in contact with them, but haven't gotten to sit down and have a real conversation. I hope we get to do that soon. I think it'd be fun to have. I
Maybe
know
you
that-
could have
that-
like Superman metaverse,
Yeah,
just like
yeah,
Spider-Man.
exactly.
Everybody's pointing at
Come on.
each other.
No more
fun.
metaverse.
No, but it'd
I
be
like
fun.
that Spider-Man meme.
Yeah, yeah.
But because it is a small group, it'd be fun. I know they sometimes get together at conventions and whatnot, and it'd be fun to all be in the same room. Yeah, yeah, I think it's happened.
And Rachel, your Lois Lane is super different. I really like her, the fact that the world is literally falling down, being destroyed, and she's like writing. It's just like the journalist reality. So, did any research to play this character too? Because you have a new version of her, like 2025 version of Lois.
I feel like anytime new actors step into these iconic shoes, of course they're slightly different than the ones before, but it all starts with a great script. And I mean, I feel like that's always been Lois, somebody who will do just about anything to get a great story, who has this remarkable focus and intense ambition. And I'm excited for people to see her in action as a journalist in this film.
James, so we now have this new DC era that you're leading. So why did you choose Superman to be like the first act for that?
I mean, Superman was the first superhero ever created in 1938 by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. He started off everything that we know about, superheroes and metahumans in the comics and Marvel and DC and all media was because of Superman. So I thought that he was absolutely the most fitting character to, begin this universe with, to use their linchpin for everyone else.
Is there any particular scene in this movie that you think that people should like pay attention? Because you might have put some Easter egg in that movie. So is there any Easter egg that people should look around?
There's a lot of Easter eggs in the movie. I mean, almost every character in the movie is named after someone in the comics. All the street names are named after different comic book writers and artists.
Oh, cool.
Most of the business names are either, from the comics, or they're named after the great artists and writers from DC Comics over the years, because Superman really is a character who we've created together from the beginning, from Jerry and Joe up through all the different comics writers and the people that did the radio play, who were the first ones that made him fly and shoot beams out of his eyes, through the TV show, through the Max Fleischer cartoons, through the
Don't
modern
forget about
movies.
the musical.
The musical.
Is there a musical?
There's a musical called "It's
What?
a Bird, It's a Plane, It's Superman" or something
I
that
think
we
so.
watched. That Rachel and my friend Kai from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
We watched on YouTube.
One of my
Really?
In the middle
acting
of screening.
teachers is
That's
in it.
right. One of your acting.
But-
One of my acting teachers from college, it turns out, was
No
in the
way.
Superman musical.
Yeah.
But
He
like
was
a
great.
Broadway musical?
A Broadway musical.
I don't know if it made it to Broadway.
Okay,
I
but
think it was on Broadway.
That
Really?
rings true to me.
It was.
You think it was on Broadway?
But I think it closed after it didn't last long, which was
God.
surprising
Still
by how
time to
wonderful
bring
it
it back.
was.
now we have to do a musical movie of Superman.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe we'll adapt that next.
Maybe
That would be
You
new.
guys ready to sing?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That would be new.
Put some tap
Also,
shoes on.
we have to talk about Nicholas, because he was amazing doing his legs. Was he really bald to do that? Or
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like really?
Oh, yeah.
The baldest to ever do it.
Oh my God! I thought it was like special effects or
No way.
something. So how was it working with him in this character? Because his Lex Luthor is like super different from all the Lex Luthor we have seen before.
He-
And I really seen on social media they are really good friends and have to be enemies on screen. So how was it working with him?
I think he brings the not to put anybody else down, but I think he brings the most sex appeal to Lex that I've ever seen. He's a really wonderfully facile actor. Like watching him play with he and James were figuring out the character sort of on set, because there's so many ways you can play a villain like Lex, and it was amazing watching Nick go from a 0 to a 10. I guess I don't know whether I should talk about the 10, the like really crazy stuff you had him doing that first week. You can decide if you want to. I don't know if it's any. If it's
I don't
a
remember
movie.
what it was.
The boogieing, the dancing.
Oh, he was dancing a
Yeah,
little bit at your demise.
yeah, but,
'Cause I took it out of the movie.
Yeah, okay, cool. There's some good footage of
Too
him.
far.
It was too much. Yeah.
Of him, dancing with glee, which strangely worked in the moment. And then
It did.
on the other end of the spectrum, he would just deliver 3 or 4 words in this sinister, quiet voice that just made you feel like he really was going to kill you. But then when James says cut, he's the sweetest and most. He's got the best sense of humor.
He really is the nicest and kindest person
Yeah.
on set. We agreed on this tour we were going to talk about what a monster he is and
Well,
spread
yeah.
rumors about him because he
We
can't
lasted about 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And then we started talking about how incredible he is.
But he really is the nicest, kindest person. And then it's just amazing because then he turns it on. He turns that switch. And I mean, I think for my money, he's the most intense, meanest Lex that you go, oh, God, yeah, this guy's dangerous.
Yeah.
One of the problems with Superman in the past has been that people are like, yeah, but is Lex really an equal of Superman? And I think in this movie, you see that he is. He's as smart as Superman is strong. And he's willing to do anything to win that Superman isn't willing to do. So he's a really great villain.
And I think Superman in this movie, it reminds me of Christopher Reeve's Superman, because I feel like the last versions of Superman, he was like a god, and this time I feel like he's like more kind, like looking to protect people. Was there a new version that you wanted to portray of him, or come back to the basics?
I mean, I think that there's a lot of similarities with Christopher Reeve, in part because I like the playfulness of Christopher Reeve in that movie. I like the fact that he enjoys being Superman and saving people, but also I think there's closer to what most of the comics are, and so is our Superman. I also think that our Superman is a little bit more flawed than Christopher Reeve's Superman. He has a few more issues that he's trying to deal with. He's not perfect, and I think he has this, relationship with Lois Lane where they're both taken aback by each other. They're both surprised by each other. This is not something either one of them were expecting. So the love story is just such of central importance in this film.
And also, I was watching I really like the show of Superman in the 90s with Dean Cain and Terry Hatcher.
Yeah.
I love that show. And I remember that in this show, Lex and Lois had a little romance, and at some point they would like get married. So why did you choose to not talk about this love story of the villain and they're like disputing this, fighting for her? You think like Lois has a new version that she doesn't want to be saved, she just wants to do her job.
Why is there no threesome in our
Why isn't it like Challengers? Superman?
I mean, there's
I love Challengers.
That's what the weird things Rachel asks me for.
full of ideas.
I mean, listen, there's still a future. I don't know. I mean, I think Lex would probably be into Lois in this world as well, but Lex is also into, his girlfriend Eve, and probably into the engineer as well. So I don't think Lex is easily tied down.
Lex's dance card is full.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And David, everybody was discussing about the trunks. So the trunks are back. And I heard that you have like some issues with the costume that was like really hard to move. Is that true? How was it for you, like dealing with this and dealing with the trunks coming back to the superheroes?
I think that the trunks coming back was one of the first times, it was in an early costume fitting, it was one of the first times that James kind of looked at me and said, "What do you think?" And I was pro trunks in theory, which I think James was too. But it was just a question of finding a reason for it, understanding why it's back, so that it's not just there's a justification for it. And for us, it ended up being a sort of a disarming thing. Superman wants to feel approachable and like he doesn't take himself too seriously, despite the fact that he is the most powerful superhero on the scene, and that he can blast enemies with his laser eyes and fly through the skies at Mach speeds. That little touch of silliness, of childishness that sort of allows him to be a little more approachable was important. The suit's an amazing feat of engineering. They're built from scratch, and they're built over many months and many fittings, and they need to look a certain way and tell a certain story visually, but they also need to function in a certain way. The challenges of making it look the way we wanted it to look and also move the way it needed to move in the incredibly dynamic flying and fighting sequences was a challenge that we were dealing with all the way through. But the best costume team that James has worked with again and again, and yeah. That's probably the end of that sentence.
Did you feel good on
David
it?
always does that. When he's at the end of a sentence, he's always like, this is the end of the sentence. He also sometimes, when you're lucky, he also says, I'm about to begin a sentence. He'll say a sentence, and then he's like, that's the end of the sentence. Just so you know, he's like, it's like human punctuation. It's just he says it out loud. He's a period.
That's good.
We always know what to expect and appreciate
I hate
that
surprises.
about you.
Oh, and James, tell me about it. This movie, I feel like every movie that you do, you have a lot of humor happening on it. And I feel like in this movie, we do have some silliness, as he talked about, but I feel like it was like a little toned down from the other ones that you did. And also, especially, I'm not sure if it was playing. It was not playing, because this movie is being released in a very different moment of the world, right?
Yeah.
Politically, and everybody, a war happening and everything. And the movie really touched base on these issues. And how did you come up with this idea of being more political in some way in this movie?
Well, the first thing about the comedy is that I think that in a lot of ways there are aspects of the Guardians movies that are comedies.
Mm-hmm.
They're action comedies. I think that this movie is an action-adventure drama with comedy elements. And so there's humorous stuff in the movie, people laugh, but when we have the 12-minute, talking scene between the two of them, that isn't there for laughs. It's about their relationship. There's tons of funny stuff that happens in that conversation, but it's about who they are as people, their different points of view, and where they are in their relationship, and where they are in their view of the world itself. I think it's insofar as the world's relationship to the movie, I think it is, I think that one of the reasons that so many people are excited about this film is they don't feel like they have a lot of hope in the power structure. And Superman is a character who is powerful and he's good. He's benevolent. And I think that's something that we really, desire, because a lot of us are not feeling like, the world is populated with great things on at least at the level of, political realities.
Dave, it's on you. We need Superman. We need a real Superman.
Well, I think the other cool thing about this story in the movie is, James has mentioned this too, that the feeling that we're sort of hoping people have coming out of the theater is that they realize that this sadness of the movie, which is that Superman isn't real in our world, and the movie celebrates the spirit of Superman in such a way that we hope people leave looking for that piece of themselves and that piece of the people that they know and love, the piece that does want to do the good that there is to be done, and be a little kinder and a little more proactive in taking care of each other, and that's the end of that sentence.
Well, also because the thing that's always been true about Superman, but I think is especially present in this movie, is this question of what it means to be human. What is it that makes us human? That's always been at the center of Superman. It's one of the reasons why I feel like this character has endured. We obviously have always known that we don't live in a world where heroes like Superman exist, but movies like this, they're aspirational because they show us that they show us the power of courage and loyalty and community, and that inner strength that we all have inside of us is worth fighting for. And that's something we could use a little bit more of right now too.
Yeah, I think we go into the movie being like, oh, I would love to be Superman. He can fly, he's super strong, he can do all these cool things. I wish I could be like Superman. And then during the course of the movie, you realize that Superman only wants one thing, which is to be like us. He is, in a way, envious of what we have as human beings. He wants to have that in his life. So we're all blessed with that, and we're missing it.
He believes
we want to be
in the
someone
power
else.
of people.
Of human beings, of our feelings, of our emotions, of being who we are.
Okay, guys, just to wrap this up, crypto. I love crypto.
Yeah, so we took my dog into this room. There were it's like in a big globe with thousands of cameras. We put my dog on a stand. He was trying to bite everyone. And then we took, all these pictures of him from every angle so that we could create a 3D model of my dog. So we took that model of my dog, we changed it into a white dog because my dog is like the color of poop. And and then we made him into crypto, and then we used hundreds and hundreds of videos of my dog playing and jumping. I didn't have many of him flying, but I do have some of him flying at me across the room, attacking me. But it's but like for instance, a lot of the footage with crypto tackling Superman at the beginning is based on videos I have of my cat and my dog playing. So it's it's just doing that to my cat instead of Superman.
He might not literally be real, but he's based on a lot of real elements.
That's right.
I know.
Mixed with some brilliant artists.
Yeah, all taken from reality.
I'm gonna do this for my dogs. Guys, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Hope you are enjoying Rio. Have a good time here, and I'm gonna watch you again in the theaters.
Great.
Thank
Go
you
see
very
Superman
much.
in theaters, okay? Don't wait for the streaming.
When?
10 de julho. 10. Can you say that? 10 de julho.
10
Thanks to
de
Julio.
Julho.
Julio.
Julio.
Really
10
good.
de julho.
10 de julho no cinema. Beijo, tchau, tchau. Bom, essa foi a nossa entrevista. Gente, que coisa mais linda. O Superman. Meu Jesus. E todo mundo muito simpático, todo mundo amando o Rio de Janeiro. Pegaram frio no Rio de Janeiro, mas estão aqui, ó, na frente do seu bom pão de açúcar. Eu amei. Então assistam Superman nos cinemas a partir de 10 de julho. Eu vou agora ver de novo, porque agora que eu sou amigo deles, eu vou ter mais intimidade. Falar aquela cena que eles falaram, entendeu? Então você que tá assistindo aí, vai assistir também. E não deixa de assinar o canal, comentar, compartilhar e ativa o sininho. Quando eu aparecer aqui, ó, você já vem. Beijo. Tchau, tchau.
He's not a man. He's an it. somehow become the focal point of the entire world's conversation. I will not accept that.
I cleaned your boots. I'll go get them for you.